there. Sir from 17 once again. This is my wonderful 101, 101% hard difficulty video walkthrough. This is the boss of Operation 5. I do not know his name, unfortunately. And I want to remind you, the kind people watching, that everything in this 16-minute video is the single same checkpoint. If you die, you will begin at the very beginning. And I don't like that. I've never liked it, I never will like it. I appreciate that games used to be that way, but they're not anymore for very good reasons. And if you're going to run rank on this particular mission, you better get good at taking no fucking damage for the full duration, because the boss is not that bad to do that on, but the sections in between, no Ukemi will save, like, you have to be really on the ball, know exactly what you're doing, and God help you, if you choke, because the game just doesn't care. And this is a topic that I've discussed quite a lot on various different Platinum games. Because if you don't know, Platinum has a lot of different teams within them. They are a small development company in the grand scheme of things, but they have a lot of creative leads. So there are a lot of different titles being worked on at the same time by, 3 or 4 different leads, with a lot of the same members in the teams, helping back and forth and what have you, and other people, specialising and what have you. So they don't all share the same morals or the same philosophies on game design. For instance, this was directed by Hideki Kamiya, who is, for all intents and purposes, the video game god for me, because I love pretty much every game he's ever worked on. However, Metal Gear Rising wasn't anything really to do with Kamiya, other than he owns I think he's the creative director there. He's one of the founders, along with Shinji Mikami, of Platinum Games. So of course he might have overlooked it a little bit, he might have had some input on it, but for the most it was a completely different director helming that game, much like Bayonetta 2 was completely different director. It was, I believe, Hashimoto who did that, whereas Kamiya directed Bayonetta 1, and that is why Bayonetta 1 and Bayonetta 2 are very similar to the person who's not that educated in how they play, but very different to the people who understand how they do. And not all, as I mentioned, these philosophies and principles carry between the teams. For instance, was it J.P. Kellums, I think his name is? He's one of the... was he originally American or French or something? I don't know. I don't know too much about these people, guys. I've just seen enough Platinum documentaries and things and video vlogs and what have you to spot these people. But I think he was in charge, or maybe one of the executive producers or directors on Anarchy Reigns, which of course is a wonderfully different Platinum title, and a lot of people view it as one of the weakest. That's really useful, by the way. If you can get a hero dodge on this boss, you can do some really big damage to him. Strategy is simple. Counter his attack, build your biggest Unite morph that you enjoy, and slap him in the face or in the arm with it. There's really nothing too much more to this particular moment, unless you have some special morphs to fuck him up, which I really don't. But I mention Anarchy Reigns for a very good reason. It has a restart checkpoint feature, and it's the first thing that's literally on the menu when you pause it. It gives you the ability to get back in there, which makes rank running on that game a joy. However, it's one of the least fun Platinum games to rank run in, that it's a feature that's completely wasted on it, and it's a massive shame that it exists in such a way. And then you have a game like Bayonetta, which came before that game, where there's no restart checkpoint, yet it's one of the most fun games to rank I've ever played. Like, it doesn't make sense, it doesn't add up. And then these newer games come out, and you think they'd have this standardized universal system of press start, restart, fast loading thing, good checkpoint, there we go. But they don't. And then this game came out, and I'm like, it can't possibly be worse than Bayonetta for that, and it fucking is! And it's that moment where Metal Gear Rising was perfect. It was short, it was concise, it had great checkpoints, and it had a great restart checkpoint feature. You paused it, it was there, boom, you were done. And that is poetry to me. And how that hasn't made it into other titles by this developer is mind-boggling. Like, it's the type of thing that would make me want to argue with Hideki Kamiya on his Twitter, even though I know he'll say, like, my mother fucked an animal to have me, or that I'm a piece of shit human being, and he'd hate me forever. But I'd still fervently believe that as much as I like this man, he needs to add this feature. And the only thing I can think of is he's holding on to this romanticised nostalgia of Gladius and Afterburner in those games that he grew up on, where you had one credit to do it all. And if you fucked up, nobody was there to hold your hand and pick you back up. And that is a very old school mentality that a lot of people share. I don't. And that comes from somebody who really likes one credit clearing shmups, made by a company called Cave, who make Danmaku shooters, which are some of the craziest, most difficult shmups that exist, outside of, you know, really old ones that weren't designed that well. So it's just this thing of, I understand the mentality, but I'll never agree with it. As we move inside this boss and the music kicks up, and I love the music on this game. First thing to do here, real simple, get a massive sword, do the circle attack, block the move. No block? What are you doing, Chris? No, you Kemi. Wow, I must have been having a bad day recording this one. Here comes a dodge. There it is. The music is so goddamn good in this game. This game is so good! Minus the checkpoint thing. Like, it does so much right, and it's so brave, but nobody bought it. Like, it's almost a love story and almost, you know, a suicide note at the same time. It makes me so sad, this game, even though it's not the game's fault. But this is hilarious too. If anybody's played Punch-Out, you'll appreciate what's coming here, or you'll hate it, and I wasn't the biggest fan when it first played, but you'll learn to understand it a bit better. So, you can block here, kinda, and you can dodge. You can punch, and you also get these abilities to do these knockout punches. You can jump as well, as you saw, and you can do this crazy, like, face beam that takes forever to charge. There's a technique in the boss sequences coming up. Block this, by the way. If you block it when they dash towards you, they'll kill themselves for some reason. Just hold block and let them kill themselves. All you want to be doing here is building your bar up so that you can use it on the boss to mitigate the fight. But it's so weird. There's an achievement in this game, or whatever they call it, to beat a Punch-Out fight doing nothing but knockout punches, which are the stars, I think, below your guy. And to get a star, you have to hit him when he's weak, or you have to do some kind of special criteria. And I'm telling you, folks, I've done this a lot. Like, I've done these Punch-Out moments a ton. I've got to the point where I could spot what attacks were coming, because if his eyebrows move, it's going to be high. If his eyes move, it's going to be low, or something along those lines. I hope I've told you previous to this moment, because I've not played in a while and I've kind of forgot. But they telegraph a lot of what they do. And I've stunned them, I've worked the body, I've frame advantaged them, you know, I've comboed from face to body, I've done the left to right, I've done massive damage. I've knocked the fuck out of these bosses, I've got pure platinums on these fights, but I don't get the stars, I don't get the opportunity to do that special punch. Like, sometimes it just doesn't happen, and I've never really figured out why. But we'll see how this fight goes, and you'll get a taste of exactly how it works. So these ships, if you don't know, they're going to strafe you with this big laser. Jump over it, then they come close, then you can kill them. It's pretty simple stuff. But just a wonderful change of perspective, a wonderful change of gameplay. The type of stuff AAA titles are so afraid to do. This game does in spades all the time, and it's just got that charm to it, that nostalgia, that old school joy. Although, some moments, don't get me wrong, are pretty shitty, and I'm not a big fan of them. But somebody is, and that's awesome. But let's have a look here. It looks like I've got the full bar going. Have I got 3 of those stars? I can't tell. The graphics not the best on them. But here's the cutscene reintroducing the boss. So we're going to skip this, and now we're on the Punch-Out section. So there's an uppercut, quick dodge, hit him in the body. Wait for him to recover. As soon as he starts blocking, stop punching. If you keep punching, he'll counter punch you, and it is so fast, guys. It is wicked fast. So stop, wait for him. Wait for him, see what he does. Watch his, that's his eye, and that was the dodge accordingly. So, I don't know if that was high or low, I couldn't really tell. That's his other eye, so that's the other way. And of course, depending on which eye he does, will depend on which swing he does. So watch his eyes and his eyebrows. That was his right eyebrow. So eyebrows are high, eyes are low, and that's how you know what to dodge. It's pretty quick, but you'll get used to it. There it was again, eyebrow. Get him, punch him in the face. And what we're going to do is when we knock him down, we're going to fire the laser. That one, was that telegraphed? I couldn't tell. So, now you can use this opportunity to charge your bar, but we don't need to. I think you can press laser here as he's getting up. You have to tap something on the screen on the controller. I don't know if I'm doing it. I hope I'm doing it. Maybe not. Interesting. So there's a kick. That time I did not dodge that correctly. I think you've got to jump the kick, which is a really tough thing to do. But stop it when he blocks. Watch him. Do you see that? He fainted. Jesus Christ. And now you want to do the laser. As soon as you stun him, laser time. So, crazy laser does massive damage. And it puts him down again so we can charge it again. So now you want to bash. Bash A as fast as you can and it'll build it back up for you. And then I think these bits are really, really cool. I just don't think that this should all be the same checkpoint. Like, you know, I just got hit then, in that moment when he kicked me. I have to restart now, and I restart at the beginning of this video, which is 11 minutes ago. So, yeah, just... I can't excuse it, and I do apologise if it wears on people's patience that I mention this kind of stuff a lot with my grievances towards checkpoints, but it's incredibly important to me, and I think it would just make it a better experience if it was more streamlined, because all it does is make it feel archaic, and it punishes people who want to play their game. But just keep on doing what I'm doing here. It's a little bit tougher to see his flinch because he's all swollen, but you'll understand it. Oh, this is a weird bit too. It's Simon Says, effectively. He'll do a combo, and then you have to dodge it accordingly, but the first hit always comes out much quicker than you think it will, so it's tough to dodge. Then again, I'm not doing a very good job of dodging any of it. I do think these sections are quite tough. He's firing the laser at me. That's not good. Uh-oh, Chris, get your team back. So on this moment, you have to recruit all your men. If you don't, it's death. So get all your team back, and then get all the way up here, and get back in your dude's face. If not, yeah, not a good situation to be in. Now, punch him! Get him! Why am I not punching? Oh, there we go. Just goes to show, folks. Some of these moments I'm not entirely familiar with because they don't happen. Like, I don't think I've ever been knocked out of my mech like that. Maybe until this recording. So I wasn't, or maybe I've never had him charging the cannon. I'm not too sure. There's a lot of variables, but this is a quick time event, so charge your shit. And here we go, next phase of the fight. So now you have to run across and you have to go inside him. Oh yeah. Sexy tag. And then you'll notice it's a very reminiscent looking fellow in here. So this is the brother of the dude we killed earlier in the game. And once again, we have to overwhelm him, dodge his attacks, and hopefully juggle him into the air. Which, if you hit him enough, you'll break his sword, and it'll stun him. There's the kick. Should have gutsed it, or at least hero timed it. But as soon as you stun him and you can launch him, you can do some crazy things against this dude. It's amazing. There's the unblockable. You want to watch that. Just use all the Unite morphs you can, overwhelm him, send a couple of the AI teams out to attack, use your favourite moves, mix it up a little bit. Can't break his sword though. I wonder if there's a specific thing to use to break it that happens quicker. It's perhaps one of those things I used to know that I've forgotten in my absence. But there it is, there's the stun. Now we should be able to launch him, but I'm not launching him. What am I doing? Launch him, Chris. Nah, I'm just going to gangbang him. That's a shame. It's fun to launch this enemy. Oh, there we go! Tombstone! And there he goes. This game's so good, dude. Please buy this game. If you've got a Wii U, you owe it to yourself. You know you're going to like it, even if you don't like the look of it. It's too much joy to behold. And you have to wait a little bit for the cutscene to kick in. And then there's the escape part, which, once again, folks, is gameplay you've never done before. It's not very fun, and if you take damage, you have to do everything you've just witnessed again. So, by the end of this, when you get your pure platinum, you're going to know this boss so well that it's probably not even going to be fun to fight it. Like, it's not going to surprise you because it can't. Because you've every mistake, every reset, again, and it's a 16-minute fight. And it doesn't sound a lot, does it, compared to some stuff, but I'm just not that player. That's just not who I am. So he telegraphs the drill, and then you duck it, and then he gets a little bit laser happy. Sometimes it's tough to see how he's telegraphing this, but you know, just use your gut and you should be okay. Tend to go either to the top of the screen or to the bottom of the screen. It works wonders. and just watch what he does. Here he comes again throwing the balls, so dodge them accordingly, left and right, as you surf on the spaceship. So many cool touches. Once again though, this sequence overstays its welcome. It's a couple of loops too long. I think it should have just been what you just saw, like before he started throwing fire. It should have been fireballs, it should have been drill bits, it should have been mouth laser, then it's over. It's too long. Nobody wants to do this for this long. It's indulgent and it's repetitive. Like, there's something to be said about brevity, and that's one of those cases where it just doesn't achieve it. And it's much like the flying sections on Bayonetta 1. They overstay their welcome and they become more of a chore than a blessing, which is something that I wish the testers would have mentioned, but who knows, maybe there's people who think that that's a perfect length. Talking about lengths all the time. Cock and balls, that's all we do here, folks. But that is the boss, folks. All that's left to be done here is to shoot a bunch of guns at him, build up your points, and then put the boss down. So thank you very much for watching, and you take care now.